The Kinahan Cartel is an Irish organised crime syndicate with international influence, primarily involved in drug trafficking, money laundering, and violent criminal activities. Founded in the 1990s by Christy Kinahan, the cartel has grown into one of the most powerful and dangerous criminal networks in Europe, with deep connections to the drug trade in Ireland, the UK, mainland Europe, and even the Middle East and South America. The cartel has been linked to large-scale cocaine and heroin smuggling, using sophisticated money laundering techniques to finance its operations. It is also known for its brutal enforcement tactics, including targeted assassinations and violent feuds with rival criminal groups, particularly the Hutch Gang. Welcome back to Crime Chronicles. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the rise and fall of the Kinahan organised crime group. We'll look at the early origins of the group, their meteoric rise, and their future, now that many members are either incarcerated or facing extradition and long prison sentences. Christy Kinahan, often referred to as the Dapper Don, is a prominent Irish criminal who founded the Kinahan organised crime group, one of Europe's most notorious drug cartels. His criminal journey, marked by early offences and strategic expansions, has significantly influenced the landscape of organised crime in Europe. Kinahan's initial foray into criminal activities dates back to the late 1970s. His early convictions encompassed offences such as housebreaking, car theft, burglary, handling stolen goods, and forgery. These crimes established his presence within Dublin's criminal circles. In 1986, Kinahan faced a significant legal setback when he was apprehended in Clontarf, Dublin, with heroin valued at £117,000. This arrest led to a 6-year prison sentence related to the heroin seizure. His criminal endeavours persisted, and in 1993 he was arrested on charges of possessing stolen cheques. Granted bail, Kinahan absconded to the UK, but was subsequently detained at a family funeral in Dublin in 1997. Denied bail, he received a 4-year prison sentence. During his incarceration, Kinahan exhibited a commitment to self-improvement. He pursued higher education, earning 2 degrees, and dedicated time to learning Spanish and Russian. This period of personal development not only expanded his linguistic capabilities, but also equipped him with skills that would later facilitate his international criminal operations. The late 1990s and early 2000s marked a transformative phase in Kinahan's criminal career. Capitalizing on Ireland's Celtic Tiger period of rapid economic growth, he established the Kinahan Organised Crime Group. Initially, the group operated as a street gang involved in inner-city drug dealing in Dublin. However, under Kinahan's leadership, it rapidly evolved into a sophisticated, multi-million-dollar criminal network with a global reach. Kinahan's strategic vision involved forging alliances with international criminal organizations. He is suspected of establishing drug trafficking routes into Western Europe, collaborating with Mexican and Colombian cartels, as well as the Russian mafia. These partnerships facilitated the efficient movement of substantial quantities of narcotics across borders, solidifying the cartel's position in the global drug trade. In 2010, Spanish authorities raided Kinahan's residence, leading to a brief imprisonment. Although no charges were filed, this incident underscored the growing attention law enforcement agencies were directing towards his operations. Undeterred, Kinahan continued to orchestrate international drug trafficking activities from his €6 million villa in Estepona on the Costa del Sol. While Christy Kinahan laid the foundation for the cartel, the day-to-day operations eventually transitioned to his sons, Daniel and Christopher Jr. Christy Kinahan's vision for a lasting criminal enterprise necessitated the involvement of senior figures who could run operations while he took a backseat role. The inclusion of his sons was both a strategic move to ensure trust within the organization and a method to perpetuate the family's influence in the underworld. Daniel Kinahan, in particular, emerged as a central figure, intertwining the cartel's interests with the boxing industry. Despite attempts to legitimize their image, the family's involvement in organized crime remained evident. Daniel Kinahan, born on June 25th of 1977, gradually became the face of the cartel's operations. His involvement was not merely as an heir, but as an active participant in expanding the cartel's reach. Daniel's strategic foresight led him to intertwine the cartel's interests with legitimate enterprises, most notably the boxing industry. In 2012, he co-founded MGM, Macklin's Gym Marbella, with Irish boxer Matthew Macklin, which was later rebranded as MTK Global. This venture served dual purposes: laundering illicit funds and establishing a veneer of legitimacy. Under Daniel's guidance, MTK Global managed numerous boxers and was involved in the careers of high-profile names like Tyson Fury. While Daniel took on a more public persona, Christy Jr. operated behind the scenes. His involvement was crucial in managing the cartel's internal affairs and ensuring the smooth operation of its illicit activities. This division of roles between the brothers allowed the cartel to function efficiently, with Daniel focusing on external relations and Christy Jr. overseeing internal operations. The transition of leadership from Christy Kinahan to Daniel was a calculated move. Recognizing the need for modernization and the benefits of integrating with legitimate industries, Christy entrusted Daniel with the cartel's future. This shift not only ensured the cartel's survival, but also its expansion into new territories and ventures. The cartel's influence extended beyond Ireland, notably infiltrating the Scottish underworld. Alliances with local gangs, such as the Lions Gang, allowed the Kinahan Cartel to dominate the Scottish drug market. This expansion exemplifies the cartel's strategic approach to establishing and maintaining control over lucrative territories. Despite international efforts to dismantle the Kinahan Cartel, Christy Kinahan and his sons have remained elusive. There are suspicions that he may be collaborating with Western intelligence agencies, a factor that could be contributing to his continued evasion of law enforcement. This alleged cooperation raises complex questions about the intersection of organized crime and intelligence operations. In April of 2022, the US Department of the Treasury imposed sanctions on Christy Kinahan, his sons, and several associates, designating them as the Kinahan Organized Crime Group. These sanctions aim to disrupt the cartel's financial networks and curtail their criminal activities. Additionally, the US Department of State announced rewards of up to $5 million for information leading to the arrest and/or conviction of the Kinahan family members, reflecting the international community's commitment to combating their influence. Christy Kinahan's trajectory from petty criminal to the mastermind of a global drug cartel illustrates a complex interplay of ambition, adaptability, and strategic alliances. One notable difference between Christy and his son Daniel has been how they handle feuds with other gangs. Christy was always happier to keep feuding with other gangs to a minimum, preferring to stay off the law enforcement radar. Under Daniel's leadership, the cartel has been implicated in several significant feuds that have profoundly impacted the Irish criminal landscape. Among these, the Hutch-Kenahan feud stands out as particularly consequential, leading to numerous violent incidents and fatalities. The Hutch-Kenahan feud is an ongoing conflict between two prominent Irish criminal organizations, the Kinahan Cartel and the Hutch Gang, headed by Gerry Hutch. This feud has resulted in at least 18 deaths and has significantly influenced organized crime dynamics in Ireland. The feud's inception traces back to the murder of Gary Hutch in September of 2015 in Marbella in Spain. Gary Hutch, a nephew of Gerry Hutch, was previously associated with the Kinahan organization, but reportedly fell out with them over financial disputes and allegations of informing authorities. His death is widely regarded as the catalyst for the ensuing violent conflict between the two factions. A pivotal event that escalated the feud was the attack at the Regency Hotel in Dublin on February the 5th of 2016. During a boxing weigh-in event, gunmen disguised as armed police stormed the venue, resulting in the death of David Byrne, a senior Kinahan associate, and injuries to others. This audacious attack, whose target was most likely Daniel Kinahan, intensified the animosity between the two groups, leading to a series of retaliatory killings. Here are a few of the notable incidents and figures attributed to the feud. The murder of Eddie Hutch Sr. in February of 2016. Shortly after the Regency Hotel attack, Eddie Hutch Sr., brother of Gerry Hutch, was shot dead at his home in Dublin. This killing was perceived as direct retaliation by the Kinahan group for the murder of David Byrne. The murder of Noel Duggan in March of 2016. A known associate of the Hutch family, Noel Duggan was shot dead outside his home in County Meath. His murder further exemplified the lethal tit-for-tat nature of the feud. Michael Barr's murder in April of 2016. Michael Barr, a reputed Hutch associate, was killed in a pub in Dublin. His death was among several linked to the escalating feud during that period. Gareth Hutch's murder in May of 2016. Gareth Hutch, another nephew of Gerry Hutch, was shot dead in Dublin. His killing underscored the Kinahan group's intent to target individuals closely associated with the Hutch family. The murder of Trevor O'Neill in August of 2016. An innocent man with no criminal affiliations, Trevor O'Neill was mistakenly identified and murdered in Mallorca in Spain, highlighting the reckless nature of the feud's violence. The murder of Noel Kerwin in December of 2016. A friend of Gerry Hutch, Noel Kerwin, was shot dead outside his home in Dublin. His association with the Hutch family made him a target in the ongoing feud. As we have seen, the Kinahan Cartel's operations extended beyond Ireland, with significant activities in countries like Spain and the United Arab Emirates. Their international reach facilitated collaborations with other criminal organizations, enhancing their capacity for violence and complicating law enforcement efforts. For instance, the cartel reportedly hired Imre Arakis, an Estonian hitman, to carry out assassinations in Ireland. Arakis was apprehended by Irish authorities in 2017 before he could execute his mission, underscoring the transnational aspect of the cartel's operations and how they were using global connections in their feuds. In response to the escalating violence, Irish law enforcement agencies intensified efforts to dismantle the Kinahan Cartel. The Police National Drugs and Organised Crime Bureau has been at the forefront of this initiative, targeting major organised crime gangs, including the Kinahan Cartel. Since its establishment in 2015, the group has seized significant quantities of drugs and firearms, disrupted numerous murder plots, and made over 1,700 arrests. The Kinahan Cartel's ongoing feuds would have a profound impact on the boxing industry. Daniel Kinahan's involvement as a boxing advisor and promoter was his attempt to legitimize his image. His association with prominent figures in the sport, such as Tyson Fury, brought increased scrutiny, and eventually he became so toxic that the world of boxing turned its back on him. The 2022 US government-imposed sanctions on the Kinahan Cartel led to a broader awareness of their activities within the boxing community. Subsequently, boxing promoter Bob Arum acknowledged being deceived by Daniel Kinahan's portrayal as a legitimate businessman, reflecting the cartel's attempts to infiltrate legitimate industries. 2017 would see the attempted murder of James Gately. A Hutch associate, James Gately survived an assassination attempt in Dublin. Investigations revealed that the Kinahan Cartel had hired international hitmen, including Arakis, to eliminate Gately, highlighting the lengths to which the cartel would go to target their rivals. 2019 would see the shooting of Lee Boylan. Lee Boylan, linked to the Kinahan group, was critically injured in a shooting in Dublin. The attack's motives remain unclear, but it underscores the ongoing nature of the feud and the persistent threat of violence faced by individuals associated with either side. As of 2025, the feud's intensity has diminished, partly due to successful law enforcement operations and the incarceration of key figures. However, the legacy of violence continues to affect the families and communities involved. The Kinahan Cartel's influence has waned, with reports indicating that other criminal organizations, such as the Family Syndicate, have risen in prominence within Ireland's drug trade. Despite these changes, the Hutch-Kenahan feud remains one of Ireland's most brutal gang feuds. As of March 2025, the senior members of the Kinahan Cartel are facing increased legal pressures and potential extradition, mainly from Dubai. Christy Kinahan Sr., the founder of the cartel, is believed to be residing in Dubai. Recent investigations have linked him to activities in various countries, including Egypt, Zimbabwe, and Hong Kong. Daniel Kinahan, Christy's eldest son and the cartel's current leader, is also thought to be in Dubai. Facing international sanctions and potential legal actions, reports suggest he might seek refuge in countries with limited extradition agreements, such as Russia. Sean McGovern, a key lieutenant of the cartel, was arrested in Dubai and is currently awaiting a court decision regarding his extradition to Ireland. He faces charges related to the 2016 murder of Noel Kerwin. There are concerns within the cartel that his potential cooperation with authorities could expose critical operational details. Liam Byrne, another senior figure, was apprehended in Mallorca in June of 2023 under a UK extradition warrant. In October of 2024, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for his involvement in a plot to stockpile firearms, aiming to secure a reduced sentence for his brother-in-law, Thomas Kavanagh. Thomas Bomber Kavanagh, who was already serving a 21-year sentence for drug smuggling, received an additional 6-year sentence in late 2024 for orchestrating a plan to plant weapons and inform authorities to secure a reduced jail term. The cartel's leadership is under significant strain due to these legal challenges, with extradition agreements between Ireland and the UAE potentially disrupting their operations. The outcome of McGovern's extradition case in particular could have profound implications for the cartel's future activities. The future of the Kinahan cartel is uncertain, but ongoing law enforcement pressure could significantly weaken its operations. However, criminal enterprises are adaptable, and remnants of the Kinahan network could shift focus to other illicit activities or regions. Law enforcement needs to act quickly to ensure the Kinahan family are unable to relocate away from Dubai before being arrested and extradited to Ireland. Thank you for joining us today on Crime Chronicles. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel with your friends.